Is the day that we've been waiting for, which is the day when the Freedom Convoy truckers in Canada sue Justin Trudeau. And that day has finally arrived. For more details on this, what it entails, how many truckers are involved, what are they hoping for, and is the Trudeau government running and hiding? We want to ask David KRAYDEN, who's a Canadian journalist who writes at the Post Millennial, about all of this. He's got a great YouTube channel as well, KRAYDEN'S Right. David, I'm surprised it actually took this long, but it seems like you're getting a group of these convoy truckers on the same page, almost like in a class action lawsuit kind of a way, to go after Trudeau. Can you break this down for us?
Yeah, it's quite interesting because it's not exactly a class action lawsuit. It's 20 individuals who are the chief and the key participants in the Freedom Convoy who are suing individually, but they're sort of being grouped because this is the same sort of lawsuit. And they're suing the Trudeau government. They're suing Justin Trudeau. They're suing the Liberal government and the various interlocutors in that government that participated in the invocation of the Emergencies Act, including freezing their bank accounts. So this is Tamara Lich, who is most well known, along with Barber, who are on trial themselves right now. And I've been covering that trial here in Ottawa for mischief and other very minor offenses. So they've been so wrapped up in their own legal problems. And the other 18 people on this list, some of whom are also entangled in minor mischief charges as well. And I think the reason this has taken so long is that they have been overwhelmed by the bureaucracy and the legal situation that they are personally in, that they haven't had a chance to finally strike back. And you have to remember as well that the Freedom Convoy participants and even the donors to the Freedom Convoy protest are subject right now to a $300 million lawsuit that is being brought against them by so-called concerned citizens in downtown Ottawa, largely people who are griping about the fact that they heard a bit of honking from time to time. There was a little bit of diesel exhaust in the air, and supposedly it interrupted their lives. They don't mention the fact that the pandemic lockdowns had Ottawa and the capital locked down for months, but they want to blame the Freedom Convoy. So while this is coming against them, thank God they've said, look, we are taking Trudeau to court for $2 million apiece. This is not $2 million for the whole 20. I mean, that would be ridiculous. $2 million apiece. And they're going after the Trudeau government, and they're saying, you owe us for what you've done to our lives, not just during COVID, but in the aftermath, because of all of the expenses incurred with the legal problems you've given us, and you've destroyed our lives in many ways. A lot of these people have had their lives destroyed because of COVID and their refusal to bend to Trudeau's will.
Now, I know you're not a lawyer. Maybe you are. Maybe that's a secret hobby of yours that I don't know about. But, you know, during the litigation process, of course, what we look forward to, of course, is discovery, right? We want to see if this moves forward and these are not dismissed, because a judge could easily come in and just with one fell swoop dismiss all of these lawsuits and say, sorry, we're not moving these forward at all. First of all, I'll ask you this. Do you anticipate that would happen, that these would be dismissed? And the second sort of follow-up question would be, is that then if this moves forward, we go through a discovery process. And what do, Tamara Lich and Barber and others hope to maybe discover during that discovery process? Emails, communications, a coordinated conspiracy to work with the press, to work with other government agencies, to go after these Freedom Convoy truckers. To me, that would be the most interesting part of this entire litigation.
I do expect this to go forward. I do not expect this to be quashed by a judge, and I'll tell you why. Because a federal court just found Justin Trudeau's invocation of the Emergencies Act to be unconstitutional, unjustified, and unreasonable. Couldn't ask for a better declaration for this group to say, hey, you owe us. This was illegal. It was an illegal act.
Right.
Now, it's not something illegal as in terms of Justin Trudeau getting charged and going to jail over it, but it was unconstitutional and it violated the law. So I think that is certainly an arrow in the quiver of the Freedom Convoy participants. There's no way any judge is going to say, hey, nothing going on here, because the federal court has already said this was completely unreasonable. Now, what the Freedom Convoy people and what concerned citizens, including myself as a journalist, what I want to know is, why did Trudeau invoke the Emergencies Act at all, when the only real issue of national security was the one at the border in Ontario and Alberta? And that was already resolved by February 14th, 2022, when Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act. That so-called crisis was already over. So the whole thing was aimed at the Ottawa demonstration, which time and time again we have shown was peaceful and without any violence and the complete absence of any armaments or weapons on the site. So why did he invoke it? Well, we know now he invoked it based on false intelligence from a non-governmental organization, Anti-Hate Canada, that was in fact funded by the federal government. This is how corrupt and how incredibly distorted this is. Trudeau based his analysis. The federal government based their analysis, the Justice Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland, who froze bank accounts. It was all based on fake news. It was all based on misinformation coming from a website that was in fact funded by the Liberal government. And this was all phony information. They said that the Freedom Convoy was somehow based on white supremacy, on white nationalism, on far-right politics, that it even had a militia under its command, which is all nonsense. None of this was true. And Trudeau then used this false information, which he knew was funded by his own government, and he shared that information with the Five Eyes, this intelligence group that includes the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. They shared this information amongst themselves. This is scandalous, and this is what we hope any discovery will reveal: how Trudeau completely invented the evidence to invoke the Emergencies Act, how he lied about it, not just about these people being misogynist and racist and somehow Nazis because he doesn't agree with them, but how he fudged all of the intelligence. And he knew he fudged the intelligence. He knew he lied. And this was all based on Trudeau's crazy hypothesis.
I would love to see this come out in Discovery. I think these are the things that, we learn about the Russiagate hoax, right? Using a fake Steele dossier to then push that forward. Then January 6th. And of course, that hoax, pushing that forward as an insurrection to go in and imprison people for many years, or go after all these January 6 individuals, and using this sort of same game plan. It's like they're operating from the same playbook here to go after these individuals. I hope that these all are able to move forward. I mean, 20 of these or more. I mean, you think Justin Trudeau is going to have to show up to court to answer for these, or he'll send one of his lackeys to try to answer for one of these, if it even makes it that far, or where they just, settle out of court and put some sort of a gag order, some sort of a non-disclosure agreement that they're not able to talk about it. So we might never see this discovery process and what the documents behind all of this. So I still have a lot of questions. I guess we'll see. When do we expect to hear a hearing date on any of this, where this moves forward, David?
I imagine within the next 3 months, because these things grind very slowly. It's worth noting, though, that Justin Trudeau actually showed up at the Emergencies Act inquiry, which was about a year and a half ago now, last November. And he made an absolute fool of himself at that investigation. He decided he was going to go there and set the record straight. And of course, he was so ill prepared. And all he did was recycle the same talking points, the same lies, read from the same script. And the Freedom Convoy lawyer, who has really become a friend of mine since that incident, Eva Chipiuk, she nailed Trudeau to the wall by saying, why did you call these people you disagreed with misogynist and racist? And Trudeau lied. I never called anybody names. And of course, we've got the video evidence.
Yeah, the video. Yeah.
And then she said to him, one of the most telling remarks of the whole inquiry: when did you start to fear Canadians, Mr. Trudeau? And he was speechless. He could not respond to that.
Yeah. Well, like in the United States, Americans are the greatest terrorist threat now to the Biden administration. If you're a MAGA supporter, you're the biggest threat to the United States right now. Not foreign terrorists, it's the United States. It's Canadians, which are the biggest threat to your democracy up there. David Krayden, great to see you. We'll be following this closely over the next few months. I can't wait to see how this unfolds, how far in the court system this gets, or if it's squashed in any way. We'll be watching it. David, great to see you.
Thank you so much, Clay.
So thanks so much to David for joining us here on the show. Canada is crazy right now. I mean, you literally have Trudeau yesterday warning us all that, the world is moving towards authoritarianism and dictatorships. It's like, does he not look himself in the mirror and realize what he's actually saying? Seizing emergency powers illegally to clamp down on truckers? It's unbelievable. Anyway, the hypocrisy of Justin Trudeau.
Thank you for watching this episode of Stand on Guard and being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right channel. If you've watched this episode to this point, you've watched it all. And that's really important for a small station like this. We always say subscribe, hit the bell, be a part of the KRAYDEN resistance. Resolve to resist. That's what we're doing. And if you become a subscriber, if you're a supporter of this station or a member through Substack, through YouTube, and now you can be a local as well, that's so important to us because I couldn't do this without you. I made a decision to become an independent journalist about a year ago because I wanted to bring all of my experience in the military, in journalism, to you. I don't promise anything I can't deliver. I don't offer clickbait. I offer truth. The truth is out there, and it's my job to bring that truth to light and to you. Thanks for being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right resistance, and we'll see you again soon.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need a political change, but we also need to resolve to resist.